When it comes to the greatest inventors, many people might mention names like Leonardo da Vinci and Thomas Edison. While opinions may vary, if you were to ask the world's wealthiest person, Elon Musk, he would undoubtedly say Nikola Tesla. Tesla's inventions are countless, and their impact is so profound that they've accelerated the progress of human civilization. Without his innovations, the world as we know it would likely be in chaos today. Tesla possessed many abilities that seemed both real and unbelievable, showcasing insights far ahead of his time. He was revered as a god, and at times criticized as an advocate of pseudoscience. He led the way in his youth, but faced poverty in his later years. So, who exactly was he? Today, we will explore the life of the man closest to God, Nikola Tesla. On July 9, 1856, at midnight, a baby boy was born in the village of Smiljan in the Austrian Empire. It was said that his birth was accompanied by a storm and flashes of lightning. The midwife, terrified, referred to him as the child of the storm, but his mother insisted that he was the child of light. This boy was Nikola Tesla. We might romantically believe this story, as Tesla's connection to electricity seemed destined from the moment he was born. His parents were both of Serbian descent. His father, Milutin Tesla, was an Orthodox priest, and his mother, Georgina Mandic, came from a family of clergy. Tesla was the fourth of 5 children, with 2 sisters, 1 brother, and 1 younger sister. While growing up in the carefree countryside, Tesla faced great challenges. He frequently saw vivid hallucinations so lifelike that he struggled to distinguish them from reality, which deeply troubled the young boy. Tesla's older brother was exceptionally gifted and had always been favored by his parents, with the expectation that he would follow in their footsteps and become a priest. Tesla lived in his brother's shadow. However, in 1863, tragedy struck when his brother died in a horseback riding accident. Tesla, then only 7 years old, witnessed the tragedy firsthand, leaving a lasting scar on his soul. His father, heartbroken from the loss of his son, moved the family away from Smiljan to a larger town nearby. After his brother's death, Tesla's parents placed their hopes on him, hoping he would become a priest. During this time, Tesla developed an intense passion for reading. While most parents would be delighted by a child who loves to read, Tesla's father was furious. Tesla would often read through the night, and his father worried that he might ruin his eyes, so he hid the household candles. However, this did not stop Tesla. He secretly made candles from oil paper to continue his reading. From a young age, Tesla exhibited strange behaviors, including obsessive-compulsive tendencies. He would count his steps as he walked, measure the volume of bowls and cups when eating, and if performing repetitive actions, the number had to be a multiple of 3, or he would start over. These compulsions stayed with him throughout his life and influenced his relationships with others. At the age of 12, Tesla underwent a major transformation after reading a novel called Biography. The story of Biography, a young aristocrat who transforms from a reckless, disorderly youth into a brave and determined hero who sacrifices himself for his country, deeply inspired Tesla. This novel encouraged him to intentionally train his willpower. In his autobiography, he mentions that through this training, he successfully combined his passions with his will, gaining control over his actions. After strengthening his willpower, Tesla came to terms with the visions he often experienced, deciding to coexist with them instead of being troubled by them. In fact, he began to revel in the surreal landscapes that unfolded before him, as if his mind had become a holographic projector, displaying everything he imagined as vividly as the real world. What he initially considered a disease would later become a powerful tool in his inventive journey. Tesla excelled in school, especially in mathematics, but he struggled with drawing. As a result, he avoided involving himself with sketches throughout his later career. During his early years in school, he contracted a severe illness that nearly cost him his life. Even the doctors gave up on his treatment. However, despite being bedridden, he continued to read, particularly immersing himself in the works of Mark Twain. In his autobiography, he credits these books with providing him the mental stimulation needed for his miraculous recovery. 25 years later, Tesla became friends with his idol Mark Twain and shared this story with him. Twain was so moved by it that he wept. In 1870, Tesla moved to Karlovac in Croatia to attend high school, where he developed a strong interest in physics, especially electricity. However, his father insisted that he give up his education and enter the clergy, a demand that caused Tesla great pain. After graduating from high school, he wanted to return to his home in Gospic, but his father forbade it and instead sent him on a hunting trip in the mountains. Tesla was confused, but eventually returned to Gospic, where he learned that a cholera outbreak had killed many people, and that was why his father had prevented him from returning. Unfortunately, Tesla was not spared. Shortly after his return, he contracted cholera and his condition worsened. He was bedridden for 9 months, with a coffin already prepared for him. As he lay dying, his father entered the room, controlling his grief and anxiety, and encouraged his son to stay strong. Tesla replied that if he could study engineering, his condition might improve. Despite this being in direct conflict with his father's wishes, the father compromised, promising that if Tesla recovered, he would send him to the best engineering school in the world. Tesla knew his father's promise would be fulfilled, and the weight on his heart lifted. Miraculously, Tesla's health began to improve, and he recovered swiftly. However, just as he was about to pursue engineering, he faced another challenge. He had reached the age for military service. His father, fearing that the frail Tesla would not survive military life, secretly hid him in the Croatian mountains for 9 months, despite knowing that avoiding military service was a serious crime. Tesla took a large number of books with him and lived in the mountains disguised as a hunter. After emerging from the mountains, his father fulfilled his promise and sent Tesla to study at the Johann Polytechnic University in Graz, Austria. The university was highly prestigious within the Austro-Hungarian Empire at the time. Tesla chose to focus on mathematics and physics, and as in his childhood, he dedicated himself to his studies. He mentioned in his autobiography that he studied from 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day, even on holidays. Hard work paid off, and Tesla's grades were exceptional. He passed 9 exams that academic year. Even the professors felt that awarding him the highest scores still didn't do justice to his abilities. Tesla returned home with impressive results, hoping to earn his father's approval. But his father's reaction was the complete opposite. He scolded him harshly. This deeply confused Tesla, as no matter how hard he tried, he could never win his father's approval. This left him devastated. After this, Tesla no longer studied obsessively, and instead began to associate with some unsavory characters, indulging in various forms of entertainment. By the end of his second year, he had even developed a fondness for smoking and gambling. By his third year, his gambling addiction had reached a point where he would go to any lengths to satisfy it. When his father found out, he went to the casino to persuade him to come home, but Tesla remained fixated on gambling. His father's despair led him to return home alone, where he soon fell ill and passed away. Not long after, while Tesla was still gambling, the police mistakenly took him for a vagrant and returned him home, which broke his father's heart, leading to his untimely death. However, Tesla didn't repent but continued gambling, nearly depleting the family's finances. Just when he had lost everything and was preparing to try again, his gentle mother handed him a stack of bills and said, "Go ahead and gamble as much as you want. The sooner you lose it all, the better our lives will be. I know you will come to your senses." Her words deeply touched Tesla, helping him overcome his addiction to gambling once and for all. Later, he discovered a letter in his father's belongings from his professors. The professors had written to Tesla's father, urging him to control Tesla's passion for studying, as they feared that his excessive labor could lead to his death. This was the true reason behind the scolding Tesla had received from his father. Unfortunately, at the time, Tesla couldn't understand this deep love, and it wasn't until after his father's death that he deeply regretted not realizing the depth of his father's care. By then, all he could feel was profound pain and regret. During his time in university, Tesla's favorite course was physics, taught by Professor Jacob Posier. In one demonstration, Professor Posier showcased the most advanced Gram DC generator of the time. When the DC generator was powered on, it could be used both as a generator and as a motor. However, due to the commutator and brushes, there was significant friction, which led to sparks, an inherent issue with DC motors. Unfortunately, during the demonstration, sparks were produced, and Tesla suggested that removing these components would allow the motor to run smoothly. Professor Posier sneered, mocking Tesla by saying, "Mr. Tesla may have great potential, but he certainly cannot accomplish this, as he is trying to create a perpetual motion machine." His classmates laughed in agreement. Little did they know, this young man would, in just a few years, fulfill his ambitions and become a legendary figure who would change the world. From that moment, the idea of creating an alternating current motor took root in Tesla's mind. It was as if a projector had been turned on in his brain, becoming his most powerful tool. Unlike other inventors, who needed to design and then test their ideas in the lab, Tesla could see his ideas clearly, in vivid detail, as if they were projected before him. Regardless of the design, he could conduct an experiment in his mind and predict the outcome. He often claimed that the results of his mental experiments were almost identical to the actual results. Despite this extraordinary ability, progress on the AC motor remained slow. In 1880, Tesla followed his father's wishes and went to Prague to continue his studies. There, he continued researching the AC motor, but due to financial difficulties, he had to find a way to make a living. In 1881, he moved to Budapest. At that time, the famous inventor Thomas Edison was planning to open a telephone exchange in Budapest, and the project was managed by Tesla's uncle's war comrade, Puskás. Through his uncle's connections, Tesla secured a job assisting in the construction of the telephone exchange. However, the pay was meager, and the work was dull, mainly consisting of basic calculations and the drawing tasks he despised, such as calculating hundreds of thousands of square and cube roots. Eventually, Tesla chose to resign and dedicate himself fully to his inventions, believing that he would create a great invention capable of supporting him financially. At this time, Tesla experienced another severe mental health crisis. Possibly due to neurasthenia or another illness, he exhibited many incomprehensible symptoms during this period. For example, he claimed he could hear the ticking of a clock from 3 rooms away, the rumble of a carriage in the distance, and even the sound of a fly landing on a table. Fortunately, Tesla had an athlete friend, Anthony Sigety, who managed to pull him back from the brink of a mental breakdown by forcing him to engage in physical activity. One day, while walking in the park with Sigety, Tesla suddenly recited a passage from Faust, as inspiration struck him like lightning. He immediately began sketching the design of an alternating current motor on the ground with a stick, explaining his idea to Sigety in great detail. Sigety fully understood Tesla's vision and firmly believed that Tesla would soon become famous for this groundbreaking invention. In 1882, Edison's company began promoting the electric lighting system in Europe. Through the recommendation of Puskás, Tesla joined Edison's company in Paris as a technician. The company's manager, Charles Batchelor, was Edison's partner. Tesla's primary role was to help the company resolve technical issues, such as improving designs and troubleshooting, and he performed excellently. During this time, he also shared his ideas for the alternating current motor with his colleagues, but his ideas did not attract much attention. Despite the meager salary, Tesla gained valuable engineering experience from the job, and his talents were quietly recognized by Charles Batchelor. In 1883, a major failure occurred in a large lighting system in Germany, leading to strong dissatisfaction from the German government, which considered ending its cooperation with Edison's company. Given Tesla's exceptional work capabilities and his fluency in German, he was chosen to go to Germany to resolve the issue, with a promise of a bonus if he succeeded. Therefore, Tesla traveled to Strasbourg, Germany, in October of the same year. There, he worked tirelessly, not only solving the problem, but also taking the opportunity to look for investors for his alternating current motor. Unfortunately, he was unable to secure any investors. Upon returning to Paris, Tesla went to Edison's company to claim the bonus for his work in Germany, but received nothing. Deeply disappointed, Tesla tried to find French investors, but failed to gain support for his invention. Just when he felt hopeless, Charles Batchelor was recalled to New York by Edison. Batchelor highly appreciated Tesla's talents and invited him to New York to develop further. Tesla sold all his belongings to prepare for the journey, but just before leaving, he lost his money and ticket. As a result, he had to take a cheaper ship to the United States. Puskas, the man who had previously helped Tesla find work, wrote a recommendation letter to ensure Tesla could join Edison's company. In the letter, he wrote, "I know two great men and you are one of them. The other is this young man." Finally, Tesla arrived in New York and met his idol Edison. However, this idol would soon become his enemy. What happened next? Let's continue following Tesla's journey. Edison is a household name, and we've all learned about his invention of the light bulb in elementary school. Strictly speaking, Edison wasn't the inventor of the light bulb, but rather its improver. The bulbs before him were either too expensive to produce or had an extremely short lifespan, making them unsuitable for commercial use. In 1879, after many experiments with his assistant, Edison finally created a light bulb that could stay lit for 1,200 hours. Prior to this, Edison had already gained fame for inventing the phonograph, but the light bulb made his reputation reach global heights. In 1880, Edison patented the direct current DC electrical system and began building power plants to provide electricity and lighting systems. As a result, Edison's company rapidly grew, amassing great wealth, and he became a world-renowned electrical tycoon. In 1884, Tesla arrived in the United States just as Edison's company was rapidly expanding in the electrical industry. On the very first day he arrived, he faced a challenge. The world's fastest passenger ship, the SS Oregon, had been delayed for several days due to a major fault in the generator of Edison's lighting system. Tesla, being very familiar with DC generators and having repair experience from his time in Germany, volunteered to lead a team to fix the problem. After working through the night, they successfully resolved the issue. The next morning, as he returned to the company, he ran into Edison. Not knowing Tesla had just returned from the repair work, Edison joked, "Look at our Parisian, who's been wandering around all night." Tesla explained that he had just come back from the Oregon and had repaired 2 generators. Edison silently walked away, but as he got farther, Tesla overheard him telling a nearby truck driver, "He's a good guy." Tesla's hard work impressed Edison, and he was allowed to work at Edison's machine shop in Manhattan, with his idol now close by. Tesla had intended to present his alternating current motor to Edison, but after facing constant indifference, he ultimately decided to hold back. Tesla worked diligently at Edison's company, from 10:30 a.m. until 5 a.m. the next day, even earning Edison's praise as the best assistant. At Edison's request, Tesla began working on improving the design of the direct current DC generators. Edison promised to reward him $50,000 if he could complete this task. At the time, this was a huge sum. Tesla's weekly salary was only $18. Tesla worked tirelessly, going above and beyond, and eventually designed 24 different standard models. When Tesla asked Edison for his promised bonus, Edison mockingly responded, "Why are you taking this seriously? You really don't get American humor, do you?" Tesla felt deceived by Edison and angrily left, which became one of the reasons he eventually parted ways with Edison's company. However, Tesla did not leave immediately. He took on a second task, designing an arc lighting system for Edison. At the time, arc lamps were another major form of lighting besides incandescent bulbs. These lamps produced light through an electric arc, often using special gases, like those in fluorescent lamps, which were a type of arc lamp. Edison's main competitors were also developing their own arc lighting systems and making significant progress. To stay competitive, Edison decided to develop his own system, asking Tesla to work out the details. True to form, Tesla designed a complete arc lighting system. However, when he eagerly awaited his reward, he found that Edison had not adopted his system. Instead, Edison used Tesla's design as a bargaining chip, striking a business deal with other companies. After being deceived twice by Edison, Tesla finally saw through him. He was just a businessman who cared only about profits. Tesla could no longer tolerate this treatment and angrily wrote in his notebook, "Goodbye, Edison, machine works." In early 1885, after 6 months of working for Edison, Tesla decided to leave. After leaving Edison, Tesla did not fall into hardship. He applied for a patent for his arc lighting system and attracted interest from investors. The Tesla Electric Light Company was founded, and his arc lighting system quickly became successful, being used in factories and municipal lighting. However, Tesla's true ambition lay elsewhere. He longed to develop his alternating current AC generator. The investors, however, were only interested in the steady profits from the arc lights. Once the company started making money, the investors abandoned Tesla, formed a new company. And because Tesla had transferred his patents, he was left without the ability to use his own inventions. He ended up with nothing. In the following year, Tesla had to make ends meet through manual labor. He worked as an electrical repairman and also as a ditch digger, earning only $2 a day, with very poor living conditions. He later recalled that his higher education seemed almost like a joke. After a long wait, an opportunity finally came. While digging ditches, Tesla mentioned to his foreman that he was an inventor. The foreman, leveraging his connections, recommended Tesla to Alfred Brown, a senior executive at Western Union Telegraph Company. Alfred Brown was intrigued by Tesla's inventions and arranged for Charles Peck, a professional lawyer who could turn Tesla's inventions into a business plan, to meet with him. Thus, in 1887, with the support of Alfred Brown and Charles Peck, Tesla Electric Company was officially established. 1/3 of the company's income went to Tesla, 1/3 to Brown and Peck, and the remaining third was used for research and development. Finally, Tesla had his own laboratory and could focus on inventing once again. Initially, Alfred Brown and Charles Peck showed little interest in Tesla's inventions and were unimpressed with his alternating current motor. Given the dominance of direct current DC in the power market at the time and their own preference for Tesla's work on DC, they were skeptical about whether Tesla could succeed. Tesla, not wanting to miss another opportunity, was determined to impress them and showcase the potential of alternating current AC. During a meeting, Tesla asked Brown and Peck if they had heard the story of Columbus' egg. He explained that when Columbus was seeking funding for his voyage from the Spanish Queen, he was ridiculed. Nevertheless, Columbus issued a challenge, asking whether they could make an egg stand upright. When everyone else failed, Columbus gently cracked the egg, causing it to stand on its own, thereby proving his idea. His ingenuity impressed the Queen, who decided to fund his expedition, even if it meant pawning her jewelry. Both Brown and Peck were familiar with the story. Tesla then challenged them to help him make an egg stand without breaking it. Peck jokingly remarked that they didn't have any jewelry to pawn, but they did have a few coins to spare. Tesla presented a copper egg and placed it in his AC device. Immediately, the copper egg began to spin and, like a top, stood up on its own. Brown and Peck were astounded by Tesla's almost magical technology and became staunch supporters of the alternating current motor. Tesla poured all his energy into developing the AC motor, while also designing an entire AC transmission system, which he patented. In May 1888, Tesla showcased his AC motor during a lecture at the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. His invention caught the attention of industry giants. George Westinghouse, the owner of the American company Westinghouse Electric, with the help of Brown and Peck, purchased Tesla's AC system for $25,000 in cash, $50,000 in stock, and a royalty of $2.50 per horsepower. Additionally, Westinghouse Electric hired Tesla as a consultant with a generous salary of $2,000 per month. In contrast, Tesla had only earned a meager $18 per week while working at Edison's company. Clearly, Westinghouse Electric demonstrated sincerity in acquiring Tesla's patents and offered extremely favorable terms. With Westinghouse's backing, the adoption of alternating current expanded rapidly, which made Thomas Edison uncomfortable, to say the least. His direct current business was severely impacted, and the stage was set for a fierce battle between Westinghouse Electric and Edison's company, often regarded as Tesla's revenge on Edison. Although Edison held a dominant share of the power market at the time, his direct current system had a significant flaw. It could not transmit power over long distances. According to basic principles of physics, due to the resistance of the wires, energy loss occurs during transmission, and this loss is proportional to the square of the current multiplied by the resistance. Therefore, if the wires were too long or the current too large, the energy lost would far exceed the amount delivered to the user, making long-distance transmission impractical. According to the formula for electrical power, which is voltage multiplied by current, the only way to ensure sufficient power without using excessive current is to increase the voltage. However, high voltage would lead to the burning out of users' light bulbs, which was obviously not a viable solution. So, what was Edison's solution? He proposed setting up a power station at regular intervals along the transmission route to mitigate the issues caused by long-distance power transmission. While this approach seemed to increase costs and complexity, it actually worked to Edison's benefit, as it allowed him to profit from the additional power stations. Tesla's AC system successfully solved the problem of long-distance power transmission. One of the main advantages of alternating current over direct current was its ability to adjust the voltage using transformers. Tesla's transmission system first used an AC generator to produce electricity, then employed a step-up transformer to increase the voltage to a high-voltage, low-current form for transmission. Upon reaching the user end, a step-down transformer converted the voltage back to low-voltage, high-current electricity for use, thus significantly reducing energy loss and enabling long-distance transmission. The basic logic of modern transmission systems is fundamentally the same. In this comparison, the advantages of alternating current were clear. It was not only more practical than direct current, but it also eliminated the need for frequent power stations, greatly reducing user costs. As a result, Westinghouse's AC system rapidly gained widespread support, while Edison's direct current business faced severe setbacks. Facing this enormous threat, Edison took action. He began to widely promote the so-called dangers of alternating current, even openly vilifying it as deadly. To demonstrate his point, he electrocuted small animals in public and used alternating current to execute an elephant that had killed a person. In his effort to discredit alternating current, Edison even abandoned his usual opposition to the death penalty, suggesting that alternating current be used for executions, and he personally participated in the development of the electric chair. However, the first convict to be executed by the electric chair endured 3 shocks, lasting 8 minutes before dying. The pain was far worse than a traditional hanging, and it's likely that the man cursed Edison and his family with great intensity before his death. Edison also formed alliances with several financial syndicates to undermine Westinghouse Electric through financial means. Under immense competitive pressure, Westinghouse Electric found itself in severe financial trouble. According to the contract between Westinghouse and Tesla, The company was required to pay $2.50 per horsepower for the generators. This meant that Tesla had accumulated several $1 million in unpaid royalties, and paying this sum would lead to the company's bankruptcy. George Westinghouse approached Tesla, hoping he would forego the payment. After a brief moment of hesitation, Tesla resolutely tore up the contract, believing that personal trust was more reliable than a piece of paper. As a result, Tesla's AC system was made available for free. Had Tesla not given up the royalties, he would have likely become extremely wealthy later on. Later, Tesla's laboratory in New York was struck by a deadly fire that destroyed his years of hard work and meticulously designed inventions, reducing them to ashes. This tragedy nearly shattered his mental state, leaving him deeply depressed for a long time. While there was no direct evidence, many suspected that Edison was somehow involved in the incident. In response to Edison's persistent provocations, Tesla chose not to engage in petty verbal disputes. Instead, like demonstrating Columbus' egg, he continued to dazzle the public with his magical performances, gradually dispelling doubts about alternating current. In one presentation, he passed high-voltage electricity through his body, surrounded by electric sparks, yet remained unharmed. He also managed to light a bulb without any visible wires, performing what appeared to be electric magic. The audience was thoroughly mesmerized by his demonstrations, which were all made possible by Tesla's invention of the resonant transformer, also known as the Tesla coil. Through this, Tesla showed that alternating current could be safe and powerful, countering Edison's skepticism. The climax of the War of Currents occurred at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. It became the first World's Fair to be fully illuminated by electric light, with over 200,000 light bulbs on display. Before this, Edison's company had already been restructured into what we know today as General Electric. The lighting contract for the fair became the battleground for a fierce competition between General Electric and Westinghouse Electric. As expected, Westinghouse, with its alternating current system, submitted a much lower bid and successfully secured the contract. On the evening of May 1, 1893, the entire fairgrounds were illuminated by Tesla's alternating current system, glowing as brightly as daylight and leaving the audience in awe. Westinghouse even set up a special booth to showcase Tesla's various groundbreaking inventions. During the fair, Tesla once again amazed the public with his electrical magic, making him a focal point of attention in American society. In the same year, Westinghouse Electric won a major contract for the Niagara Falls hydroelectric station. The flow of water from Niagara Falls provided a vast energy source for hydroelectric power. Westinghouse triumphed over competitors, including General Electric, to secure the contract to provide the power generation system for the plant. The designer behind the project was none other than Tesla. Since his youth, Tesla had dreamed of building a massive water wheel at Niagara Falls, and now his dream had become a reality. In 1896, the Niagara Hydroelectric Station implemented Tesla's power generation plan, successfully converting hydraulic energy into electricity and transmitting it over long distances to New York via Tesla's transmission system. This innovation turned New York into a city that never slept, blurring the line between night and day, and marking the official dawn of the electrical age. From that point onward, alternating current replaced direct current as the preferred method of power transmission, and Tesla replaced Edison as the new leader of the electrical era. The ongoing war of currents finally ended with Tesla's complete victory. However, Tesla's dreams were far from over. He had an even greater vision: wireless power transmission. He was determined to create a global system that could transmit electrical energy around the world without the need for wires. Although Tesla had already achieved short-range wireless power transmission, he firmly believed that with larger equipment and better designs, his global system would eventually become a reality. As a result, Tesla invested all his energy and wealth into the development of this system. In 1899, Tesla moved to Colorado Springs and established the Tesla Experimental Station, where he focused on researching wireless power transmission. During his time in Colorado, Tesla realized that the Earth itself could serve as a medium for power transmission. By sending sufficient energy into the ground and using receivers to capture it, he believed that large-scale wireless power transmission could be achieved, even covering the entire planet. To reach this goal, Tesla built a massive transmitter, successfully creating artificial lightning with a voltage of several million volts, injecting it into the Earth. In one experiment, Tesla placed several incandescent light bulbs near a receiver 8 meters away from the station, and to his delight, the bulbs lit up. Tesla was convinced that wireless power transmission was feasible. In 1900, he returned to New York, determined to build larger equipment to test his design. However, his previous experiments had drained his savings, so he urgently needed to find investors to realize his dream. His first choice was naturally Westinghouse Electric. Although George Westinghouse was unwilling to take another financial risk, he supported Tesla and loaned him some money, agreeing to provide equipment and help him continue lobbying the business elite. Ultimately, a major investor emerged, J.P. Morgan, the titan of finance. Morgan invested $150,000 in Tesla, equivalent to over $5 million today. In exchange, Tesla had to give up 51% of the patent rights to his inventions. Tesla used this funding to establish a more powerful wireless power transmission test station on Long Island, New York. The iconic structure of this station was a 57-meter high transmitter known as the Wardenclyffe Tower. At the time, Tesla's main competitor was a young man in his 20s named Guglielmo Marconi. Marconi, like Tesla, was researching wireless technology around the same time. While the Wardenclyffe Tower was still under construction, Marconi succeeded in inventing the wireless telegraph and achieved transatlantic communication. This breakthrough attracted significant investment, putting him ahead in the race. When J.P. Morgan invested in Tesla, he was more interested in having Tesla focus on wireless telegraphy, a technology that could be monetized more quickly. However, Tesla saw wireless telegraphy as just a small part of his larger global system. He believed that once his research was successful, sending a wireless telegraph would be simple and that it could cover the entire globe. By then, even 10 Marconis wouldn't be a match for him. So, Tesla remained focused on his research into wireless power transmission. But reality proved harsh. As Marconi's wireless telegraph technology advanced, Tesla's wireless power transmission showed little progress. The media began to label Tesla a fraud, while Marconi was hailed as a hero. Morgan lost faith in Tesla and decided to pull his funding in 1903. Despite Tesla's constant letters of explanation, businessmen only cared about profit. Ideals and dreams were seen as nonsense. With the loss of funding, the Wardenclyffe Tower was shut down in 1905, and Tesla fell into a severe financial crisis, having to use his personal assets to settle his debts. During this period, Tesla suffered a major psychological breakdown and even showed signs of mental illness. It took him a full year to begin recovering. In 1906, as he started to regain his stability, Tesla still hoped to return to Wardenclyffe Tower. He rented an office in Manhattan, trying to raise funds through inventions and patent sales. Though he managed to survive on small inventions and meager patent royalties, he had to frequently change offices. In 1915, Tesla sued his old rival Guglielmo Marconi, claiming that Marconi's wireless telegraph patent infringed on his own rights and that he was the true inventor. Marconi had won the 1909 Nobel Prize in Physics for his wireless telegraph work. The lawsuit dragged on for decades, and it wasn't until 1943, after Tesla's death, that the U.S. Supreme Court declared Marconi's patent invalid. This decision led many to believe that Tesla had won legally against Marconi. Clearly, Tesla gained no benefits from this case, as he remained impoverished. In 1917, due to his inability to repay debts, the Wardenclyffe Tower, which had been used as collateral, was demolished by creditors and scrapped. By the 1920s, Tesla was destitute, unable to pay for phone bills or rent, and even faced a lawsuit for unpaid lawyer fees. Eventually, Westinghouse Electric, out of sympathy, offered him a consulting engineer position and a monthly pension of $125. In 1931, on his 75th birthday, a young science writer named Kenneth Sweetch threw a birthday party for Tesla. More than 70 major scientific figures, including Albert Einstein, sent congratulatory letters. This led to Tesla being featured on the cover of Time magazine, and he felt a sense of warmth he hadn't experienced in years. From that point on, Tesla held an annual birthday party and made announcements about groundbreaking inventions. For instance, on his 76th birthday, he claimed to have invented a new type of motor powered by cosmic rays. At 78, he said he was developing a particle beam weapon capable of destroying 10,000 enemy planes 250 miles away. And on his 79th birthday, he announced that he had created a miniature mechanical oscillator that could destroy the Empire State Building. These declarations both fascinated and puzzled the public, with some wondering if the elderly scientist had lost his mind. In 1937, Tesla was struck by a taxi while crossing the street, resulting in 3 broken ribs. Despite this, he refused medical treatment, and as a result, his injuries never fully healed. Concerned for his health, a group of Tesla's admirers formed the Nikola Tesla Society, which provided him with a monthly pension of $600. Starting in 1940, Tesla's health began to deteriorate, and by 1942, he was bettered in most of the time, sometimes lucid, sometimes confused. On the evening of January 7, 1943, Tesla passed away peacefully in his sleep at room 3327 in the Lower East Side of New York. He was 87 years old and died of a coronary thrombosis. His funeral was held on January 12th at St. John the Divine Cathedral in New York, attended by many prominent figures from the scientific community, over 2,000 mourners, and numerous political leaders, including President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This is the story of Nikola Tesla, whose achievements and inventions go far beyond what has been mentioned here. He held approximately 300 patents, and if you count those he co-developed, didn't patent, or kept private, the total exceeds 1,000. Tesla was one of the pioneers in researching X-rays and inventing remote control. It's said that the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1915 might have been awarded to Tesla and Edison, but both of them refused to share the prize, and it was ultimately given to a father-son duo of British physicists. Had Guglielmo Marconi's lawsuit been successful earlier, the Nobel Prize related to radio could also have been awarded to Tesla. Over 100 years ago, Tesla made many predictions that were ahead of his time. He foresaw a future where electrical devices would permeate every aspect of society, and that instant communication could be achieved with a small device. He also predicted that railways would become electrified, and steam engines would be seen as outdated relics. As it turns out, many of Tesla's predictions have come true. While he may have been a failure in business, as an inventor, his purity of purpose was unparalleled. The world needed people like Edison, but for his time, Tesla truly deserved the title of great. His accomplishments continue to shine brightly even a century later. If you enjoy my videos, please don't hesitate to give a like. I'd really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.